The all-new Toyota RAV4 asks, what if? What if your ride was refined and rugged at the same time? Introducing a car that's got style and substance to spare. The all-new RAV4 Limited, featuring a sophisticated, muscular new exterior and available options like a premium JBL audio system and panoramic roof. The all-new RAV4 Limited. Toyota, let's go places. JBL and Clarifier, registered trademarks of Harman International Industries Incorporated.
Blog Talk Radio.
Hello and welcome to the newest season of the Alchemy Sisters. You are here with Mandee and Jennie. Hi, Jennie. How are you?
Doing pretty good, Mandee. How are you?
I'm wonderful, and I'm excited to be back doing our show. We're going to have a beautiful hour here, maybe a little bit longer. We'll see. To really ground in and set some nice intentions here on the new moon and start a new season, and it's really exciting. For all of the people who are just tuning in, who are new, or old guests who are coming back, welcome. Just want to let you know we're the Alchemy Sisters. We have a Facebook page that you can follow us on, Facebook.com/The Alchemy Sisters. We also have a website, www.alchemyascensionacademy.com, where you can get readings with Jennie and I. The purpose of our podcast is to really talk about the multiverse and to grow spiritually with our guests and with other healers. And we like to really offer free healing and resource and connections for you while you're on your spiritual journey. And we thank our guests so much for listening. So Jennie, what are some things coming up for you right now?
Well, it's a very interesting day so far. I went to go do a healing. I was working with a woman. She's been around since the 70s, been getting healing since the 70s out here in California where I'm at now. And I just got back from an Isis temple. The Isis temple was very, very hip, very, very energetic, and I got to do a healing right inside of it. So I'm all vibed up from that. So that's what's new for me today. What's up with you, Mandee? How have you been?
Incredible. I've been really good. I learned how to go scuba diving yesterday, or I had my first scuba lesson, so I got to breathe underwater, and that was like an exhilarating experience. And I had all these exciting moments of future possibilities, and I think I had some remembering of some past lives, perhaps in some water-like realms, and it was just beautiful.
So cool, so fun. Glad you enjoyed that.
I know. I did. I want to welcome on our guest, though. Our guest tonight is Heidi Summers, and she's a fantastic intuitive healer, life coach. She's the founder of Earth and Stardust, and she's an absolutely brilliant and bright light, and we're honored to have her. So welcome, Heidi.
Thank you, Mandee and Jennie, for having me on. I'm so excited and honored to be here and hold space with you and all of the guests today.
Oh, wonderful. Can you tell our listeners a little bit about yourself and what it is you do?
Yes, of course. So I am Heidi Summers. I started of Earth and Stardust not too long ago. My intuitive practice of being a healer and doing things like light language and oracle readings and just energy healings for people have been going on for a long time for me. In the past year, I've really started to develop and remember and increase my practice of the energy side of things, of really giving people that experience of remembering their own light, their healing of their own truth, and grounding in who they are in a deeper way as I've integrated things for myself. I do many different things. I've done massage therapy for 5 years, and that was a great pathway for me to really open up my intuitive awareness again and really remember past lives and integrations and how to be soft and gentle with my spirit and with other people's energy in the world. And, I'm just so honored and excited to be here, excited to see what comes through for us today.
Thank you for being here. It's so exciting. You know, I had a session with Heidi a couple of weeks ago, and she flip my lid back. Wonderful skill here. One of my favorites topics and practices is looking at past lives as well. So I instantly found her to be a soul sister. I'm so glad to have you, Heidi.
Thanks, Jennie.
Oh, wonderful. And Heidi, if our listeners, and we will repeat this at the end, but we like to do it twice, if our listeners want to check you out or get a hold of you, how can they find you?
So the easiest way, thank you for asking, the easiest way is through Facebook, honestly. You can look at my page of Earth and Stardust. I'll post some cool things in there. Also, feel free to friend me and follow me on Face under Heidi Summers. I post up regular healings and revelations and poetry and things encoded with light and beauty here that way. And then I also have HeidiSummers.co. It's HeidiSummers.co. And that's my website that's still integrating and bringing lots of beautiful light into the world.
Wonderful. Oh, I'm so excited to merge with you. So, Jennie, do you want to go ahead and maybe ask Heidi the first question of the night and get this show rolling?
I would love to. Thank you. My favorite question to ask, and it's so interesting to me, when do you first remember getting spiritual information or psychic knowledge? How old were you, or do you just always remember having it? Do you remember it coming in, or I was curious at the age?
Yeah, I remember always being one of, and this has recently come into a full integration of this is what my spirit was, even from a very young age, and it's that sense of like that being and feeling type of being in the world rather than feeling like you have to move from a place of doing, and kind of that three-dimensional X plus Y equals Z type thing. And so I remember when I was about 5, really like seeing the world in a multidimensional way, that everything was so rich and had a deeper essence, had a deeper meaning, a deeper quality of like breath and life to it. And I grew up in a really religious and structured environment, like many of us have. And I remember just feeling that spirituality was within me in a different essence than what I was taught necessarily. I have had connections with Mary Magdalene and the energy of Jesus with me my whole life. And I just remember from a really young age getting very clear messages about the heart chakra and the crown chakra and the third eye space, and seeing as one, with those two energies being primary for me. And the more I opened up my spiritual awareness, the more I opened up to the truth of myself, the more I really realized, okay, this is something that I need to do, not just inside of myself for me, but I need to take this forward and integrate it so that I can help other people see this within themselves too.
Awesome. That's amazing. And would you say that you categorized it as a chakra when you were younger, or did it come to us maybe more of like a color or a shape? I didn't get the word chakra until I was almost 23 or something. I didn't know it was that word. Did you know that at a younger age, or was it just something that you felt and then later got a word for?
I think it was something that I felt and later just, attached a word to it. And these words, it's so difficult sometimes to put words on things because the resonance of it is much deeper than the words we have created for it, which is why I love light language, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, but just a tidbit about that. It's a language that resonates with the soul, that bypasses the conscious mind, so we don't have to feel the density around words that don't carry the full weight and the full meaning of what what this beautiful energy that is within our bodies and within our spirits. And so, yeah, I think I saw it more as like a moving shape of like crystalline energy, and the colors shifted and changed. And like if I closed my eyes and I saw it, the colors changed based off of, how I was feeling and what I was learning and what I felt.
So interesting. I'm always so wildly interested in how others see it, feel it, taste it, touch it. I'm just fascinated with the way that everyone brings it in, and everyone's different. I haven't met, some of us do it similarly, but everyone's so different.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely. So cool.
Just beautiful. Well, speaking of light language, we so nicely segued right into that. Maybe you could tell us a little bit more about light language, and we could maybe do a little light language healing. And then I think we might have to talk to Jesus or something with you and you and Jennie here. So
let's just bring Jesus on in.
Right, we will. We definitely will. But I think we should start with light language while we're at it.
Yeah. So light language is this really beautiful vibration and frequency that can come through as sounds, often sounds like a spoken foreign language. It can also come through as hand signs and symbols, as movement. It can even be encoded, and if we're in that space of channeling and really connecting with Source, it can be encoded in the language that is native to our human as well, and some of it can come through that way. The beauty of this light language not being able to resonate with our conscious awareness is it clears density lying in your subconscious and density lying in your physical body and your energetic body, so that you can clear anything that's not serving you in your awareness to be able to move forward with more grace and ease in your life and be able to integrate deeper truths without feeling like you come up against these blocks that your ego, that essence of your personality here, can sometimes throw up for you. So what I would like us to do is settle in. If you can plant your feet on the earth, that's perfect. If not, just sit up nice and tall, placing your left hand on your heart space, your right hand on your womb space, your lower abdomen area. And we're going to start with a deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just noticing where our body is at today, noticing where our energy is at, noticing if there's any flutters in our upper heart area, noticing if we just need to breathe. Honoring all that is, all that arrives within us, knowing everything here is grounded in light and love and for us. And we're going to tune in. Let your awareness drop to your back body, drop to the base of your skull, just feeling grounded in where you are in space within time. Kono me anasi, holeva ana akiote. Shorerane amiosi, amisiha. Solerane ekeotea, heoea kiasi. Shorera kianetana, ame, amea. Soene ati uesikiti ashamata, anueteke afisanata, ashotete isafesana. Hoene imata anaki uekete a kote sima, shito sanati a masokete, masokete a kishatus, hamanata. Bring your hands to heart center, deep breaths, integrating. feeling the energy shift and move your awareness, your consciousness. Notice any changes in what is present inside of you now. Notice any judgments that may have arisen. Notice anything falling away. And just be present for whatever comes next. Thank you for allowing me to share that. That was so beautiful.
I love it. I'm not really fully familiar with the practice. I've only experienced it a couple of times, but it's like a combination of like tribal, galactic. I don't know. It's got a cool vibe of like planetary space, but grounded to it. I've never experienced anything like it. It's wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Feels like pure magic, doesn't it, Jennie?
It really does.
Like it just feels like pure magic going through you, and it's so cool because I met Heidi in the sisterhood group, and I've met all of these amazing women who are accessing this. And I'm sure there's men who are, but I haven't come across them yet. And it's just the most beautiful thing. And the first time I ever heard it was like through a guided meditation, and I'd never dropped in so quickly and so deeply, and I felt so much energy move. And as Heidi was doing hers, I felt all kinds of release go through the back of my throat and through my throat chakra, and felt kind of even like a little dripping, which was kind of nice and clearing, and my crown chakra just tingled and lit up. So thank you, Heidi. That was incredible.
Absolutely. And it's definitely one of those things. So it arrives within you when you're open and ready to receive it fully. And, you know, some of it can be activated, and hearing it from me, hearing it from other practitioners. It's not something you learn. It's something you drop into and allow it to manifest however it manifests for you. And it comes through differently every time, dependent on the energy of whoever you're sitting with and the energy of the collective. So this was the energy for, you know, Mandee, Jennie, and myself, as well as the greater collective, because we have all of you amazing guests here with us, that will move and continue to clear inside of your body over the next 48 hours to, 7 days. So drinking lots of water, it activates like what scientists would call junk DNA. So it moves as light that is tangible through your body. And so you can even feel like, oh my gosh, I'm really sore. It feels like I might have done a heavy workout, something like that. So extra water is amazing. Just honoring if extra emotion arises inside of you, honoring if you feel more vulnerable, like any extra feeling that arises, it is coming up to integrate and is coming up to clear so that you can feel fully balanced in your masculine and feminine energy as yourself.
So cool.
So cool. And vital and important right now.
What is your guys' friend's name? Is it Shanine? She does the light language too, doesn't she? Yeah, she's got a nice high vibe with that frequency too. I like that. I think I either heard a recording of her that you sent me, Mandee, or something, and it was my first experience. That was my actual first exposure.
Yeah, she's incredible, and that's, I think, Heidi, is that how I met you, through Shanine's group?
Yes, we met through Shanine's group. So crazy, all these connections. And I actually was activated in light language in part by my connection through Shanine and hearing her light language. So it's amazing how we all integrate and connect and arrive together.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she's cool. We'll definitely, don't worry, listeners, we'll get her on the show at some point for sure. We talked about it before, and then we took a little break, so we'll bring her back on. But it's just amazing, and, and that's my favorite part about this whole spiritual awakening and ascension and all this stuff is when you allow yourself to be really held with other people and other sisters in particular. It's amazing the things that can come through simply out of wanting to kind of collaborate with people, and then, treating other healers and women with compassion and excitement as opposed to competition. And that's when like so much alchemy and healing can happen. And I just love it. And I love all these connections, and I'm honored. I'm always honored. My heart always gets all big.
You have the
I
biggest
love
heart,
you.
Mandee. It's so beautiful.
Anyway, speaking of Jesus before all this, what do you think, Jennie? Should we do a little channeling action? I mean, when I have two friends with me who can channel Jesus, I feel like we should probably do that.
Well, we'll see if we get an impression from Jesus, but right now we have Mary Magdalene coming in, so we'll just go ahead and go with what we get. We'll take what we're handed for now.
Deal.
Jesus doesn't do on command like a lot of the other entities. He's a little, must be, I don't know, in a different frequency, ascended or something. But, yes, Heidi and I go far, far back in our past lives with walking with and learning and teaching Jesus' word. We have Mary Magdalene coming in with bells on, being like, I know all three of you from your studies in the sensual arts, art in general, dance. So she's coming in super strong with the warrior artisan energy, which in my opinion is a wonderful balance of frequency. But she likes to come in and say similar things, and we can ask her questions and open it up as far as you guys would like to, but she always has a very specific thing that she wants to say, and it comes out first. Basically we are in what she would consider a spiritual battle. And it's not to impose fear. Those words and that information isn't to impose fear. It's simply to bring awareness that there is so much going on energetically, spiritually, physically, planetarily. We are in the midst of one of the biggest shifts this planet has ever seen, the biggest shift, which is the idea of suppressing ego, growing heart energy. And so she's like, all of you are part of this, everybody listening, plus all the people not, some of the people aren't listening. It's not just the people who listen to this or us. So many people on the planet who are here to not only work with our own karmic information and our lessons and what have you, but the collective is to be the change, Gandhi style. Be the change you wish to see and bring more heart energy to the planet and let that ripple out. And that, at the end of the day, is what turns the wheel to bring more heart and diminish ego. So she's, saluting, if you will. She doesn't really have a body in the non-physical, but she's, so to speak, saluting and saying, you're all doing fantastic. You're right on track. The wheel is moving. Even if you feel like it starts to move slowly or it's not moving at all, disregard that fear. It is moving. We just always don't feel it or see it. And she said, we've been preparing for this. Lots of past lives, being burnt at the stake, called a heretic, told this and told for that, and put down. We're coming up out of that and blossoming, not holding grief and grudge and stress around that we've been shut down so many times, but understanding it and growing beyond it. This is a huge benefit for bringing the heart energy higher than the ego. Let's see what else Mary Magdalene. She goes, I'll be glad to see when the heart slips over the ego, the planet will have so much more sensuality. You guys will be in a different space to experience what I would consider sensuality. And I'm like, yes, that's what I come for, to bring more of that here. So healing, so wonderful, so fun, so visceral. But any questions from you ladies to Mary while we got her on the line here?
Heidi, do you?
Nothing is arriving. I'm just enjoying this collective movement. I feel like there's a lot of feminine waves of softening us all in our both our masculine and our feminine energy right now, which is why I think it's so beautiful that there's an interplay of Mary Magdalene and Jesus present on the planet right now. In terms of energy, just being able to see masculine energy being healed within all of us and softening to really present that beautiful balance of that warrior energy you're talking about and that softness, soft strength, soft power, just being able to arrive as we are with everything that is our experience, because any one of us that is here now, it feels very much of that, I am an experiential being here to feel and grow and shift in every possible way, in every multifaceted, multidimensional way. And so I'm just observing how beautiful it is to be, not only to witness this shift inside of us all, but to be present in it. So yeah, that's what's with me right now.
I love that. I have a question. She's still with us, Jennie.
Yes.
There is a little bit of what Heidi was touching on. There is this little bit of kind of, I guess, a little bit of kind of like controversy or imbalance, and I think it's just that different people are in different places at different times. But there seems to be this need for healing the women, especially as a group, before we can really look at both energies between, both each being, of course, has masculine and feminine within them, and they need to be balanced. But there seems to be quite a bit of persecution still, and things that are still coming up for women as a collective and as an energy that I'm seeing needs to kind of finish balancing out a little bit before we dive in and do equal healing together, which is coming very quickly, and I feel that, and it is already rising in some people. So I'm just wondering what Mary Magdalene has to say about, healing the sisterhood wound and the witch wound and the feminine.
Well, it's her favorite topic, or one of them. We will touch on the masculine, but we'll start here. She's saying yes, and she's like, when I was channeling through Jennie earlier, I was saying execution. The only way to come up and out of the victimization, the stress, the hate, the grudges of being persecuted so many times, is to come up and out and heal and understand from a higher perspective what's really going on here. So she's saying it's being heightened or exasperated because massive healing is happening. So it's all in good fashion, or it's all in good time for what we're heading towards. So if you want to heal something quickly, you go at it with intensity. If you're doing it at a moderate rate, you go at it on the weekends or something. But she's saying we're going at it 24/7, and it's going to show up a lot. But it's because there's healing that needs to be done there. So it's the persecution, being called a heretic, being called a witch, being burnt at the stake. It's easy to form grudges around that, and that's what we're trying to loosen. We're trying to heal the feminine and then also release the grudge, because it's hard to heal the space if you're just hating on something or very angry about that it even happened. So the highest road, or the most heartful road, is to be like, I've been victimized, I've been burnt, I've been hurt, and look at me coming out not hating. Look at that. That's the highest road. Now, you can't trick yourself. You can't just say you're not mad and be mad. That doesn't work. The universe knows. So you really have to feel it in your soul that you're not mad anymore. And you take your time with that. There's no time frame. That's why it's coming in so intensely, so everyone gets an opportunity to work at it. And guess what? When ego starts to lose its grip, control, it gets skewed. So you can tell we're making ground, because the ego and the patriarchy, not all of the patriarchy, but some of them, they call it, I guess, toxic masculinity, is coming in pretty strong, and it's got a lot of even women backing it up, saying it's not toxic. Well, no, you're just duped. Everyone can be toxic. There's toxic femininity, there's toxic masculinity. We're looking at both angles. So she's saying the reason that it's still present is because there still needs to be healing, and the reason it's coming in with intensity is because we want to go ahead and get rid of this. Time to move through, and then the way you move through is the opportunities to heal it, look at it, shift it, even if it's just a little bit of a shift. That's big. That's enough. Fine. Good. So, and it's very easy, and I don't know if you and I have talked about it, Mandee, but I think I've talked about it to your mother. There's an opposite side of fighting for women's rights. You can go all the way to the other side and become a hateful feminist, which isn't healing either. So it's more of a balance. But yes, the feminine energy absolutely can use some healing. We've been persecuted, pushed down, oppressed, repressed. Yes, we absolutely need healing. But just as equally, the masculine needs healing. They've also been subjected and pushed down and expected, and they've also been terrorized by other masculine energies all their life. So they're kind of in the same boat, but it looks a little different, of course. But she's saying if I can be honest here, at the end of the day, the masculine needs more than the feminine. As far as like the planet is, as far as like if we're going to say masculine or feminine and separate it like that, people need healing. The planet needs healing. But if we're going to just go ahead and weigh the sides, there's more healing on the masculine. They're not as generally, this is not a blanket statement, but generally the masculine isn't as interested in the emotion space in healing spiritually. And that's big. They're interested in the more physical, money, prestige. And so we're halfway there. We're kind of healing certain things like the persecution and the oppression and suppression. The masculine, I don't even think, has chipped on it very much. So at the end of the day, we all need healing, but the masculine needs more just because they haven't spent a lot of time. Society has actually frowned upon it. Men feeling their emotions and talking about them and working through them. So she's like, you know, I'm on your side, girls, but I'll just say it from a higher perspective that the masculine needs just as much or more healing.
I see that often, and I see how women have had had more of an opportunity, at least in this, time and space at the moment, to be a little more open and honest with feelings and things like that and talking about it. But there's still this kind of looming expectation over men in particular, and then they just don't get the option. Or if they do want to be more spiritually connected or emotionally connected, they're cut off right away and not allowed to express that. So it's just been interesting because I've seen over the past couple of months like another surge in female healing, and I'm seeing it maybe just the females surging and healing a little bit to hold a little bit more space and room for the men as they start to as well. Because, we certainly need to create a new dynamic, that's for sure.
It's all happening right in front of our faces. It's a very exciting time. It's part of the reason we chose this particular time frame continuum is to be front row and center and working on the biggest show the planet's ever seen. And by show, I mean, will ego win or will heart win? Heart's, very motivated and looking as if it's going to win. It's anybody's game still. And that's why Mary likes to come in and rally up the troops and be a big coach and teacher for the feminine, because there is a little bit of a run here still. It's not, the game isn't won. We still have plenty of years of moving and shifting. And the way my teacher sees it and the way that I see it, in the next 9-ish years, we flip the heart over the ego. So not done yet, but moving very quickly and steadily toward the end result, which is for all of us and our future lineage to live on a more heartful planet as opposed to egoic. And I always like to use the example of, imagine in 20 years a 4-year-old looking at you and saying, A, oh my God, was Donald Trump president? We'll have to say yes. But B, the kid will say, did you guys really buy missiles for a war when there were kids starving? And we'll be like, I know that sounds terrible and unpleasant, but yes, the powers that be at the time, that was the intention. That was the most important, that was the priority, is to have war as opposed to health and, helping people. And they won't, their little 4-year-old heads won't get it. Thank the goddess. Thank the goddess there's going to be a time where kids don't have to wonder why kids were enslaved or beaten or people were starving, So that's what we're heading toward. And again, plenty of work. That's why we're always recruiting on the Alchemy Sisters here, wanting to hear from all our listeners and friends. Be like, what do you got? Or what are your tools? It's like, I'm excellent. Join the crew. Yes, we're here to do many things, but one, of course, is to bring healing to the planet.
Yes.
That's so beautiful.
Yes. Heidi, do you have anything to add to that? Yes. I know you have lots of views and opinions on all this good juiciness.
So I have for many years been personally trying to find that balance of like, okay, how do we heal the wounds that we as women have experienced for thousands and thousands of years, and also, hold space for the men that are ready to heal as well. And very recently, and I shared this with Mandee, and I haven't really shared it out there in the ether yet, but I have this Her Story project that I'm working on and just allowing to organically develop and grow and shift, because I think there is something really powerful about us as women being able to share the stories that we feel we haven't been able to share. to be able to share in a really mindful way without causing any further persecution to people that have wounded us, and to be able to share so that we know that healing is possible and that we're not alone and that we're not showing up as wounded healers anymore. And so something that I think would be neat to see, and who knows how it's going to come to fruition, is to see a gathering of stories in a really mindful way without labeling it with, the names of the people who have persecuted us in the past, or without causing like that extra, whether we're leaning too far one way or the other. It's just like, here's this story, and it might resonate with you, whether it's chronic pain, sexual abuse, being victimized previously, like whatever it was, like that needs to be honored. And, just because you clear it and you honor it and you hold space for it inside of yourself, and you shift and you grow and you change. But there's so much of, I feel this feminine wound showing up in women still, because we're afraid to tell those stories, and we're afraid to show light on people that might not be in a state of persecuting others anymore, if that makes sense. So I'm noticing that might be a healing tool for us collectively to be able to share and shift and grow. And also really powerful for men to see, hey, to see our full experience as souls here. I think it's really, as we show more vulnerability and humanity within our divinity, I think more men will also see that as well. And it goes both ways, but this is just what's arriving for me right now. I'm also noticing with storytelling in general, I think there's something really beautiful about storytelling and about using that creative part of you to share and to help others shift. And so I'm writing goddess stories right now, channeling different goddesses. And initially I thought these would be great stories to read to young girls. And now I'm starting to see it as, yes, for young girls, so that they can write their own stories and feel empowered to use their voice from a really young age, rather than just developing it, later on in life. But to also have boys hear these stories and to hear, of strength and balance, and strength and showing up authentically, because they don't often get to hear all of the stories of femininity as well. So I'm just noticing that there's this beautiful flow, and it's like, a spiral. The deeper you get into the spiral, the deeper you go within the content of whatever the energy is where you're at. So I'm noticing this beautiful shift and circular movement within right now that I see present in a lot of young children, which is really interesting, because I feel that the souls coming into the earth right now as young children are like our greatest ascended masters and teachers in the real, because I've come across so many 5 and 6-year-old girls, and even some little boys who have the best questions and who are so gentle and kind, and they're the ones that are holding space for us as adults. And I think it would be really wise for us to share with them from a mindful place and in a container that makes sense, but also to share and honor their wisdom that they already have and that they already are, because they are going to be the ones that freaking change our whole world. And I feel that energy arriving so strongly. So, I know I just talked for a minute, but let me know, how does that feel with y'all?
Amazing. I love that. Yeah, I feel the same way, too, about the young souls. Jennie and I talk about this a lot. I think a lot of them are definitely, there's a few more old souls coming on in that are so wise. And then there's a lot of newer kind of energy from other places and planets that don't have as much, karma and dogma and things that are here in the 3D that we're experiencing. And many of us kind of light worker, warrior, into keeper here are meant to create and hold the space for them because they're highly sensitive and cannot handle what we currently have going on. So it's our job to kind of like clear the path and forge the way for them to grow and evolve and be held, as far as I see it.
Absolutely. It brings us to that warrior energy that we were talking about, where pioneer energy has a different feel, not better or worse, it's just a different feel than futuristic innovativeness. So we've got pioneer energy, which is the people before us, including ourselves, and this future generational shift of frequencies that we can channel in now, we can have come through the womb now, because we can hold the space for them. Like you had said, maybe 100 years ago, they're way too sensitive. And believe me, they were coming in 100 years ago. It's just they were either swept under the rug like Nikola Tesla, or, considered crazy, or, out of their mind. So we've been coming in this whole time, but the frequency, the amount coming in right now is unbelievable. It's so funny you're talking about this, because Heidi, after my session with you, I was talking to my boyfriend, and I'm like, the kids are getting good. I was like, she's blowing me out of the water. It's amazing. I see this generational, because I'm about 13, 14 years older than you, and I don't meet a lot of people that do what I do, and here you are just showing up with bells on, 13, 14 years younger than myself, and I'm like, here we go. They're going to start doing it younger and younger. Before you know, I have a little guru 6-year-olds walking around. No, I tease. But, it's just a generational healing, and I'm so proud of it. I'm so glad that we're holding the space for these new, let's call them old souls coming in to help us carry on this work, even after we flip the heart over the ego, even after we're 51% heart and 49% ego. There's work to be done, and so they'll come in and they'll clean up behind us too. So it's a team gig here.
I just love it. I was listening a little bit earlier to Lee Harris and his energy report for the month of February and whatnot, and just some interesting themes that were going on. And for our listeners, while we're chatting about all this and whatnot, it's important to know we have a new moon tonight, so it's a great time to set intentions and see what's rising in you and the things that you want to call in over the next couple of weeks. And something that's really on the rise is like abundance energy. And an interesting point he made was, like, if you're wanting to call in abundance, make sure that you're not only giving gratitude for the things that you have, which we are always discussing on this show, and we're all about the attitude of gratitude, because that's the frequency that kind of lifts you and moves you and makes transformation happen in a lot of ways. But also, like, if you're seeing that there's someone who you, as an empath or a highly sensitive empath, that you really feel for, and you're like, oh, I'm really sad because this person has cancer, or this person has a broken back, or, like, I don't know what to do, to really step into your own body and give thanks and healing to your body, because our bodies are really starting to resonate so much more out, and we're calling in so much more via abundance. And it's really important, as we're starting to rise on that, to be looking at it not only monetarily, but in every single aspect possible. And, a prime opportunity to do that is when you're working with a small child and you see, this amazing light about them and the ability for them to hold space for us and ask us questions and to teach us. It's like another form of abundance. And there's so much of this that's going to be rising over this next month and throughout this year. And it's going to be exciting and humbling and honoring and just wonderful. But our energies are very, very sensitive, and any opportunity we have to learn and grow or give gratitude is highly important right now.
Yes, it is.
It is. And the other thing I kind of wanted to discuss was I did a nice little challenge with Heidi a little while ago, back in December. It was like 11 days to peace. And I loved, Heidi, ending the year with you, because my word of the year was peace. So, and I don't think I told you that, so it was really cool to to have this great little challenge to do at the end of all of that. And I really learned how to embody peace, and I learned how to assess, each and every situation and moment, is this for my highest good? Does this bring me peace? And if it doesn't, what can I do around it to ensure that it does? Or what can I do to clear my energy after to restore myself back? So I thought some some nice tidbits that you could kind of share with our listeners, or some things that you like to do for self-care and maintaining peace.
Yes, peace is one of my, well, first off, you're amazing, and I love your energy, and anytime for our listeners and guests, if you've never, had a session with Mandee, please take time to just sit in her energy because it's so, so beautiful, and she adds so much. She adds so much anytime she is present with anything, and so I just wanted to say that because I just love you.
Thanks, sister.
Yes, of course. So peace is my, I feel has been my guiding principle for my whole life in this lifetime. And any situation I was in, I feel that peace has always been my thing I come back to, and it's just whether I get, in the past, whether it was I was so out of alignment that it took, some shaking up and shifting with the universe, getting my attention to bring me back to peace. And now it's a lot more subtle, and it's really nice to be able to live so internally, if that makes sense. Where you move from a state of being rather than you're moving from requirements or from feeling like you have to do anything. And so for me, things that I love to help me feel more at peace with myself and just feel at one with my energy is ritual. So perfect for new moon. I love to pull oracle cards for myself every morning and just see, what energies are present with me and what is, arriving for me. Meditation is huge for me, just being able to sit and breathe or go on a walk and breathe. It changes from day to day, and I feel like we're at one with this shifting, new earth energy right now. So any one thing is not necessarily going to be your self-care practice each and every day. It's less about routine now and more about, you know what, I feel like I want to go for a 5-minute walk down the street, and I usually don't feel like doing that, but I'm going to do it anyways just because I feel like it, and something magical will probably happen because that's when you're dropping in and you're listening to what do I feel like I want to do rather than what do I have to do or what am I on autopilot? Am I just doing what I feel like I need to do right now because this is what, Heidi does and it's got to work for me if it works for her? No, it's what do you feel like is that thing that you haven't given to yourself in a while that you just really love, that you really want to do, or you just really want to sit and be with an energy? It really is, self-care for me is about just listening deeply and honoring what is present and not judging yourself so much because we can be so hard on ourselves. I find it sometimes is easier to be gentle with others than to really be gentle and treat yourself I talked about this recently. Dr. Clarissa Pinkola Estes, she talks about moving about in the world with the energy of a soft baby blanket. And I'm like, when was the last time you whispered, I love you to yourself? When was the last time you walked out onto your balcony and you looked at the moon and you just felt into that moment? It's just that, taking each and every moment that you can and finding the beauty in it, that to me is the most magical self-care, abundance thing that I could ever do for myself and also for other people, because anytime we're doing something for ourselves or we're being ourselves, that's when we have more to give. That's when we are showing up with that abundance, that overflowing cup that I have enough for myself and I have so much more. I can pick you up off the ground and hold you and just be with you, and that is enough. And so so self-care, that's a very energetic explanation. Sometimes it's a salt bath. Sometimes it's lighting a candle that just smells delicious and amazing to you. Aromatherapy has been one of my favorite things, honoring, any time we're moving through an energetic shift, an energetic change, especially if we're awakening our intuitive gifts or we're remembering, the truth of who we are, we can find that our physical body can take on some of the stress of like moving through timelines and clearing past lives and clearing our current life, our current experience. And so really honoring, like, if I have physical pain arrive in my body and being able to hold space for it and being able to journal or to, get a massage and just really not put pressure on my physical body to perform, but say, I'm happy that you are here for me. And I trust that anything I'm experiencing is so that I can deepen my love for you, so that I can deepen my honoring of you, and so that I can hold space better for the people in my life.
Beautiful.
Mhm. I'm like, let's just sing songs and hold hands now.
Kumbaya. Yes. Mandee, you're the queen of self-care these days. You got a nice routine.
Yes.
What are you into? I know you do the baths.
I am, yeah. This is my year to really drop back in my body, as a lot of our listeners know, and you guys know, like, I've had to do a lot of body healing, and I've had to do a lot of navigating of healing kind of some physical stuff that was absolutely caused by an emotional state, and having these ascension symptoms on top of it, and let me just tell everybody a little secret. The quicker you honor your feelings and move through what's authentic, the less intense your ascension symptoms will be. So do your best to follow heart and follow spirit. But for me, what I like to do in the morning, I wake up and the first thing I do is say gratitudes. I wake up and usually my dog Iris is right there, so she's really easy because she's just waiting for me to open my eyes, and I'm like, I'm grateful for you, sweet little angel baby. And I go through some gratitudes, and then I usually don't have a lot of time to sit in that because I got to take the dogs out and we go to the park and stuff. And when I'm at the park, I always say a few prayers for myself and for my day. And if I'm going to work, I bless work before I go. If I'm got to do some errands, I just send some love and light to my experiences and the people who I'll be coming across. And it's simply doing that is very self-caring because you're setting an intention for your day and you're surrounding yourself. I like to ask my angels to surround me in white and blue light often, just as I'm driving along or whatever I'm doing. And as you set an intention, that's incredible self-care for yourself because you're setting clear boundaries of what it is you want to accept and what it is that you want to give and what you're allowing yourself to receive. I like to eat good, nurturing food as much as possible. I've switched to primarily plant-based. I'm definitely, I was vegan for probably about 8 months or so while I was healing, but I'm not full vegan anymore, but that's okay. I just do my best to, whatever I eat, I give such gratitude for it. And if it's just a salad, and like I say, I tell this to clients a lot, like, thank you, salad, for growing your whole life for me, even though I really don't want to eat you right now. Like, I'm not in the mood for it, but thank you. And then it gives it a whole nother energy. I love salt, man. Salt baths, if I just soak my feet in a salt bath or if I take a salt bath, it just cleanses and rejuvenates everything. I use crystals a lot. My selenite wand is like my best friend. When I get home at the end of the day, I either light a little sage and do a twirl in it or take my selenite wands and quickly cleanse myself. My selenite wand, not wands. And then at the end of the night, I do a little list of at least 10 things I'm grateful for before I go to bed. And I've been really trying to disconnect from social media or from the computer or my phone for at least an hour or two before I go to sleep because I get a little overstimulated. And if I find myself in my phone a little too much, then I set an intention to put it down or put it away for a while and allow myself to be. I think that's a really hard thing for many of us who are anybody in this society is we're constantly competing, and now that we're in constant communication, like if you're working, you can't even have a proper lunch break. I was on my way back from Naples, Florida yesterday, and I was cruising along Alligator Alley, and I heard this commercial about an answering service that forwards, and I'm sure there's lots of these, but forwards your office phone straight to your secretary's cell phone. So if she's out picking up lunch or whatever, or he, whoever the employee is, she can take your business call as well. And I'm just like, that's just so much. And there's so much pressure all the time. And if people have a lunch break, let them have a lunch break. And there's just a little bit too much access going on right now. So it's very important for myself and our listeners to protect our energy, because there's so many different possible ways. Not only are you interacting with other humans, but you've got this technology thing to be very mindful of. And so I just do my best each day to try to give my gratitudes and make sure I'm trying to do things that are in alignment with my heart and my body. And I feel myself getting a little too into the computer, or something's taking a little bit too much energy, then I kind of look at it and see how I can balance it. And that's it for me, constant kind of, reassessing and dropping into gratitude and peace.
Good lineup. You guys have
what
a much
about
more
you, Jennie?
Self-care. Yours is much more expensive than mine. Mine's pretty basic. I'll do the rundown for you. I wake up. I like to have some tea or coffee, and I check out. I go into like a hypnotic state, and I am clear as a bell. It's the best time of day for me. And I just do my manifestation, what I want, what I desire, what I'm working for, how I can get there, steps to get there. It's very relaxing for me. I'm a Capricorn moon. I love order in that way. Come see my room. It's not so orderly, but in that way I like order. And then I'll go do several healings, which for me, if my energy is on, doing healings is very healing for me. Now, if I'm exhausted and worn out and I push myself too far, healing becomes work. But most of the time, my healings are meditative and I trance out. And it was just wonderful and rejuvenating for me. And in the evenings, I like to burn some sage, some Palo Santo, clear any residual energy that's holding on. I might have gotten a little stressed at work or traffic or something. I release anything that's clung to me, guilt, stress, fear, anxiety, greed, hate. I keep lust. I let that be there. But, I clear out the rest. And I just continue bringing in white light for a few seconds there. And that's the gist of it. I get massages once a week. I do energy work whenever I can. I sit with Mandee and do some clearing, and other healers like Heidi and several others that I like to trade with. And so I do body work, spiritual work, energetic work, as well as make sure that I'm not taking on too much. I'm Midwestern. I'm from the Midwest, middle class, work hard, play hard, family, and it's very easy for me to overdo it and have a hard time telling people no for sessions. If I need to take a day off, it's very difficult sometimes for me to say no. I've gotten a lot better at that. So that was self-care for me, too, is just what can you handle and be okay with that? Even if people want to get in and you can't, your health is much more important than their massage, even though their massage is extremely important. It's just I have to take care of myself. You can't pour from an empty cup. And it took me many years to figure that out. I'm 40, and I might have picked that one up by the time I was 34. But, yeah, it's easy in a capitalistic world to get spun out, to get overstimulated. You add the technology to it, it's very easy to get spun out and overwhelmed and overstimulated. And I think between the three of us, we give everyone a lot of choices to play with and check into and see if that works for them. And I think I know I agree with Heidi so much. It is whatever it is that day. Whatever you feel you need to do is what your body needs to do. When I moved to Colorado, it was about 8 years ago now, I saw people very much in a ritualistic routine workout. Well, they were injuring themselves because they kept running 10 miles a day. I'm like, hey, how about you go to the yin yoga? They're like, the one that you lay around in? I'm like, yeah. They're like, but that's not exercise. I'm like, but your body needs it, and you're not listening. You're just on this routine or ritual, which is lovely and fine in its own right. But we have to be able to flex within that routine and ritual, I think, for the best benefit. So I think you were hitting on that, Heidi, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, it makes me think of Jesus energy here. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Like inside of each day, each moment, really, like with this new earth energy, everything changes all the time. And so to me, the most integrity-oriented thing with honoring your word, because I feel like oftentimes, especially as healers, we might feel like, well, I said I would do this session, and now I feel bad about rescheduling. But you said yes when you were honoring. Oftentimes, you're saying yes when you feel like your yes is true. And so if you can 100% say yes in that moment, that's the best, most integrity-oriented thing you can do then. If it changes to a no tomorrow, it's a no tomorrow, and that's fine too, because you're just honoring your energy as it arrives, and I think that's so beautiful.
Yeah. Mandee, did we have any callers that we could throw on at the end here, or no callers?
We don't. We had someone call and then hang up. But if anyone's interested in is live with us now and would like a reading, we'll be on a few more minutes. And our guest number is 323-642-1188. I'm going to say it one more time. 323-642-1188. And you can get a nice triple healing from 3 talented and gifted healers right now. And on that note, I would love, Heidi, if you would share again with our listeners your contact information if they want to get a hold of you for a session.
Yes, I'd be happy to. So HeidiSummers.co is my website. You can access all of my information there. And then Facebook, I'm Heidi Summers, HeidiSummers. Feel free to friend request me and follow me. Drop me a message if you have any questions. And I'm also of Earth and Stardust on Facebook.
Beautiful.
Wonderful.
Jennie, do you want to tell our listeners about our contacts again?
Sure. We have a Facebook page, the Alchemy Sisters, and we have a website. Is it the or no the Alchemy Ascension Academy?
No, yep, alchemyascensionacademy.com.
And you can check in there.
Yep. Sorry.
And you can check us out there, and then Facebook. And we also have a page on Facebook, the Alchemy Sisters, and sometimes we give away one-card readings. I think we might even do some drawings in the future, so we're going to be throwing around some fun readings for everyone to play around with, get a little taste of what we do. Mandee, what are you calling yourself these days? Spiritual coach? What are you into? How are you marketing yourself? I'm curious because I know you just keep growing so quickly, so I'm interested in what you're focusing on and practicing these days.
I know, right? And it's kind of fun. Our buddy Janine, who, like I said, we'll get her on here at some point. She's been really great at showing how as you grow, you can manifest and change and, switch up the words that you're using to describe yourself. And, for me right now, what feels really good is intuitive soul guidance. And when anyone comes to me for a reading, I just say, I'm an intuitive guide. I'm not very much a psychic. I have some amazing friends and healers who are. I get some timelines and some information. I'm not a big medium, but I get a little bit of messages here or there. But I mostly connect with your higher self and your angel team, and we kind of let you know about what's going on now and why, and you can ask questions. So what I like to kind of classify it all as is intuitive soul guidance at the moment. And we do card readings, and we can, ask some Ascended Masters stuff. We can do some energy clearing, all kinds of things. And I like to intuitively allow it to go according to what the client wants too, because I think, for our other healers out there, it's really at the end of the day when you sit down in session with someone, the most important part of it is to allow them to be seen and heard and to hold space with them. And when you do that and they can feel that, then it really opens up a beautiful space where the client's able to ask the healer lots of questions and vice versa, and then it organically turns into a really nice session. So I always encourage people to really just allow themselves to grow and evolve as they add little things to their tool belt. So for me right now, I'm working on a lot of the light language, which Heidi so beautifully shared with us, and it's starting to come in little by little. I even we do like the Facebook walkie-talkie, and I Facebook walkie-talkied Heidi Summers and asked her for some guidance on, how can I download this light language a little better and how can I start working with it? And she gave me the most beautiful tips, and it was really nice because I was able to find out that it was already starting to come through me. So, yeah, right now, intuitive soul guidance, oracle readings, angel card readings, and, spiritual advising for the most part.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm just still calling myself a quantum karmic healer, doing parallel existence clearings and understandings and channeling. Of course, doing the massage still and energy work. So I'm just kind of playing in those realms or just expanding more and more.
I love that. What about you, Heidi? What do you like for a title at the moment?
You know, I love that we're all in that space of, you know, it can shift and change, and that's beautiful. I love intuitive healer. I'm feeling quantum light worker, or not necessarily worker, but quantum light energy healings is a lot of what I'm finding is actually facilitated in what's coming up with the clients that I see, and massage and the energy work and the integrations of the two. And I think we're all here doing like quantum light, you know, ushering in and activations and all the things. But that's feeling resonant for me right now. Pretty simple.
Excellent.
Beautiful.
We say simple. It's very, very dynamic and fantastic. Yes.
It is, and it's hard to put words to it. And words are just labels, and, you know, that's something Jennie said from the beginning. It's just so hard to have labels and whatnot because it's constrictive in a lot of ways. And so, you know, allowing yourself to grow and evolve and allowing the words and labels to do that as well is a really powerful thing. It really is.
I think it's so beautiful to be able to, so we have these titles, whatever, these preconceptions and misconceptions people have about us, just people as general, have these ideas of who we are when they come to see us, whether it be for healings or just as a friend or what have you. And so, you know, everyone is so much more than what we think they are. And so what I find is, you know, you can call yourself whatever you want, but people are going to resonate with your energy anyways. And this goes for across all relationships, whether it be client, healer, you know, teacher, student, you know, mother, father, whatever. It doesn't really matter. It's all the same. We are multi-dimensional beings here, expanding and growing and shifting together. And it's the messages that come through our conversations is what gets to people's hearts. And I think it's that energy Jennie has been talking about of heart over ego. You know, people will feel your energy and not even understand it fully. And they want to come back for more because they want to sit with you to shift and grow and change. And these labels we have, it causes, you know, some sort of judgment or conscious, you know, thought process to arise in each and every one of us. But what matters most is the energy that we're holding inside of us that resonates with the people that are really, really meant to co-journey with us here. So I think that's so amazing.
True. Absolutely. People are attracted to our frequency or not. It's like music. No one's mad at you if you don't dig on jazz. It's cool. There's lots of other genres, just, you know, whatever you dig on or none at all, whatever. It's a frequency, and some people grow into our frequency and some people grow out of our frequency, and the best healers just hold space like a bird feeder, not really having much of an attachment of who's there, how many times, or whatever, just holding the space and keeping the energy flowing and then growing in our own right.
Absolutely. Amazing. I completely agree with that. I love the whole concept of holding space, whether it's, you know, in a exactly teacher-student relationship, client relationship, at-home relationship, whatever it is, you know, or friends, you know, people, I see that a lot, you know, especially people who are like true soul sisters. I'm seeing that pattern often. You know, sometimes, you know, one person has to go this way and experience this for a little while, and another person has to go another way and experience a different thing for a little while. And it doesn't mean that you don't like each other anymore, or you can't be friends or this or that. It just means like, hey, I honor you. You do that and I'll do this. And sometimes it happens with imbalances, and one person, you know, might be drinking too much and the other person's like, I don't really want to drink as much right now. I'm going to like jump into yoga for a while. It's the same thing, different frequencies. It's okay because you both have to spend time and space there learning those things. And you don't have to judge one another for it. You can just say, I honor you, and I wish you the very best for your highest good. And sometimes our highest good is falling on our face a little bit. And sometimes our highest good is going through a breakup or a hard time or something. It's all intended to grow us, and it's about our actions and our reactions to each situation that allows us to become more empowered into who we are and come into alignment with our soul's truest wishes at the moment.
I love that
So
so
beautiful.
much, Mandee. It makes me feel that energy of you push nothing away when you get into a state of honoring everyone. You push nothing away, and it's just I allow everything that arrives within me. I allow everything that arrives within you, and that doesn't need to. We're not taking from anyone's experience here. We're all able to now see each other just as individual beings journeying together to build that unity space. That's so amazing.
So true.
Exactly. Ladies, we don't have anybody who called in, and that's okay. It's our first show back, and it's all good. Is there anything else that you guys wanted to discuss tonight or do tonight?
I'm happy with what we discussed, and I think we had a nice, well-rounded conversation.
Excellent.
I agree.
Anything else still on your heart? Okay. Beautiful. Well, again, one more time, Heidi, would you please share your contact information if anybody wants some life coaching sessions or intuitive healing with Heidi Summers? She's amazing and the founder of Earth and Stardust.
Thank you so much for having me today. It's HeidiSummers.co for the website, or Heidi Summers on Facebook, as well as Of Earth and Stardust on Facebook. So thank you again. This was so amazing, and I'm so honored to have been able to be a part of this wonderful conversation with y'all.
We appreciate you. And you can find us here every Monday, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for a 1 hour plus show, bringing on different healers, different psychics, different powerhouses in our time frame continuum here. We hope to see you next week and all the weeks after. You can reach us, again, the Alchemy Sisters on Facebook. I'm Jennie McDaniel. My best friend here is Mandee Elam. And then you can also find our website at alchemyascensionacademy.com. We hope to hear from you.
Yes. Thank you both so much. Thank you to all of our listeners.